All right. So we had some interesting stuff going on today. We had our overnight session forum down here. Um, we had like the mini ONS. We came up, ran sell side, came up into this area. We created this imbalance here. So this is really important for us at this time of day, especially seeing that we ran away from it so fast to clear out this buy side liquidity. So I know a lot of people were looking and hunting longs this morning, and there was some really nice long action. Um, for me, the long opportunity created the short opportunity, especially with this imbalance. So being Friday, I guess we can kind of expect some bullish bounce, right? But we're also pretty far away from the low of the week here, so we've made some substantial bullish retracements. So I wasn't really expecting like a typical where TGIF Friday where we have like a classic sell during the week and then you have like the Friday morning reversal. Like we kind of had that a little bit, but I was limited on my upside target here because one, I'm looking at this up here as a breakaway gap. So on the higher time frame, I'm assuming that this is a shift in order flow. And so if we do come back up here, it's just to pair orders to go back lower, which is kind of what we were expecting here. Every time we set the high, we retraced, we took a low, we retraced, took a low, retraced. So this, all the failure swings in here became the liquidity for today. So today's liquidity was internal after the morning push up. All right, everything, all the other liquidity objectives so far have been like internal liquidity from failure swings, engineered within the swing. Um, so I know there are some people talking about price going up, but like I said, we've had we taken out this high, prior day high, like a good move into it, um, that would really have, I would have used more leverage on my shorts today, but because we didn't clear that high, I was just using the micro contracts or the minis. Yeah, the micros, which kept me a little sane as far as like your mental capital. Because even when you're on sides and you get a good trade, the time you're worrying about it because there's a potential buy side liquidity draw right above you when you're getting short, like that impacts your mental capital no matter how you look at it. Um, so yeah, tried to go easy today, not over leverage. Tried to get some pinpoint entries at these failure swings that we've identified. But what I really want to talk about is this EO concept. Um, so I don't normally track every single EO. I don't think it's a good habit to get in, but I do think it's worth noting EO levels on the hourly chart. And then um, whenever you do get like significant market structure shifts on the 5 minute to notate those EO levels. So an EO is anytime like you have a candle close into a pool of liquidity, the next opening price creates the EO. Then you have the EO candle, which creates an EO low and an EO high. And so the definition of EO is that whenever we identify EO, that means that liquidity exists above the highs and below the lows. So if we get one-sided delivery off of an EO candle, that creates a idea that price is going to want to return to the EO low because there's liquidity down here. Okay. So that I used this setup right here and this retracement as the thesis for, okay, if they come up here and they reject here, then and they show that they don't want to go and swipe the high again, right? Then that sets me up for, okay, this imbalance down here is still the draw. Um, Not that it couldn't go up here and take this high, right? Like I think we were all prepared for a buy side liquidity run to occur here, but to me, a run of buy side here was just gonna make me use more leverage on the short, if that makes sense. But because we didn't get a clean sweep, I played it lightly, right? But it didn't change our idea because we didn't take the prior day high necessarily. Um, so if we track EO from here, we had this became my swing low draw from up here. Then whenever we came down here and closed into this, or not enclosed, but we cleared out all this failure swings, this created an EO as well here. So that created another draw up into the fair value gap back down. When we came down here, whenever this candle closed below this low, this became EO, this candle right here. Okay, so see how I've gone from here to here to here. So I've used like three different EO delivery handoffs, if you will. Even though this EO is still open, right? So I still have a bearish draw, right? Even though we've created a new EO, right? So this EO is still open. We create an EO here on this with this green candle because we closed down below this swing low here, right? So if this is EO, then this EO high and this EO low, how's liquidity, right? So that's liquidity, and this is liquidity, okay? So right off the bat, the low gets run, right? So this is why I y'all probably saw me posting like a long scalp back up to this level. And that's pretty much so once this low broke here, the idea is that you have your EO high, right? That's going to be a draw. Plus, once you down close right here as well, now below this fair value gap, now we can say, okay, I'm going to look at failure swings above this fair value gap for price to retrace before moving lower, right? And guess what? It lined up exactly with my EO thesis, right? So down close, I'm looking for opposing liquidity run, right? And this relatively equal highs with the fair value gap, BPR, lots of confluence right there to get short. With, of course, our most important draw being this ONS imbalance down here. Okay, so that's how I paired the two concepts together with imbalances and then the EO. So as you see, we broke down, we kind of created a CSD, came back up here, rejected right where we expected that EO liquidity pool to get hit, and then sold off really strong in the lunch macro here. So I was expecting some volatility after 1 o'clock today because of this here. You know, we had this EO low down here that was still the draw, right? So the lunch macro liquidity, when it kicked in, it said, what's my biggest liquidity draw right there? Well, it just swept the high here. This is a balanced price range up here. We've already taken we've already cleared out all the failure swings twice, right? So the natural liquidity pool would be this EO low, right? And you see the reaction you get there. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how I use EO to formulate intraday bias, like within the session, right? So like this created your 10 a.m. low draw that ICT talks about, like the lunch lows or whatever, these are your lunch lows, right? Because so they're just generating liquidity here.
That's awesome, Maddie. The way you explained it, really simple. Love it.
It really is, man. It's one of those concepts that you could definitely do more harm than good whenever you're first learning it, right? Because The biggest thing is like form fitting in general. And I feel like this is ICT in general. Like it's very easy to look at a chart, see price action, look for fair value gaps and this and that, and like, make up a narrative. But in reality, like the narrative is interpreting delivery, right? So learning EO gives you that understanding of like where delivery started, right? And so if delivery started here and we've got liquidity on both sides of the candle, like the algorithm is going to deliver that sell side at some point, just like it ended up delivering. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to immediately, the next swing higher low is going to come back for it, right? Like you see how we created this range and we consolidated before it eventually took it, right? So just tracking the EOs and keeping the potential draws in mind will kind of help keep you in track as opposed to just like, oh, this is a fair value gap and it looks and price action looks bullish, right? Like that's reacting to price as opposed to anticipating price, right? So my goal is to anticipate price, and I find that with the classical 2023 ICT PD arrays and the you know build your own model kind of mindset is just like it's a lot of form fitting. It allows you to see things that you think are important in the charts, but they're not really important, right? Um, but understanding EO and balanced price, like those two things alone, like I feel like I can I can count on those, right? So and and on days whenever I'm off or the EOs aren't, or maybe I misinterpreted the EO, you're going to find out fairly quickly. And then, usually within that process of determining why I was wrong about an EO, I usually find the answer, right? Like through that analysis, right? So just that perspective of delivery, opening price, and remember ICT, I'll say this every call. ICT made a point to tell us how important the open price is, right? The open price is important because it starts delivery. Now, not every open is the beginning of a new delivery, but that's essentially what I think he was trying to explain to us without, you know, pointing to specific opening prices.
What
But
up,
this,
dude?
hey, what's up, DJ? How are you, man?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. I'm a little tired. I'm all right.
Awesome, man. Nice play, huh?
Yeah, beautiful, dude. That EO worked out real nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, today was the first day where I was really like locked in on EOs and I wanted to give it my full attention before the weekend hit and I forget everything.
So, man.
Oh, I want to show y'all the hourly chart for last night. So I was y'all might have saw last night, there was like some hourly setups that I was looking at. So here we had the same thing going on, right? We had this down close or down close here came up, close below, this close below, next candle's EO. We have a one-sided delivery. This is also true day open 4 a.m. So it makes it even more important because we have an hourly EO and it's the true day EO, right? So it adds confluence on how important this is, right? I feel stupid now looking back at this, how easy yesterday should have been. Um, so we have one-sided delivery after the EO is created, right? We've created these imbalances where we need green candle bodies, right? So here you get this down close candle that closes outside of the ONS, and I'll highlight the ONS. You can't see it here, but and that's kind of the ONS. So it's more of a rejection block entry. I don't think that low of ONS got run. But because we had such a one-sided delivery, we didn't need an opposing liquidity run down here, right? So once you got the hourly candle that comes in and creates that high probability order block, right? We wait for a change in state of delivery. So this hourly candle trades above it, right? And then we wait for a retracement back into the order block. And there's your entry, right? And then where are you targeting? We want to target, where's my tool? Right here. So your first target would have been here, right? To fill the imbalance on the hourly. Second target would be here, EO high, right? Because remember, this is the EO. We had one-sided delivery, created the imbalance. So the ONS target was the imbalance, but because this is also EO and the high didn't get run, that created a high probability liquidity pool for us. Okay. And
You
that
know
was,
what got me before the CSD? I don't think I was in a trade, but I was watching. Is that we were 2 points off from taking older, older, older liquidity pool, and then we're still there at the low. So I imagine we still have more downside.
which candle are you talking about? Just so I can make sure I'm.
I think it was from August. It was it was yesterday as well, and it was the
Are you talking about back here like this?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
where
Oh,
we were.
yeah, 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 yeah. I remember now. This
Yeah,
failure
that
swing.
right there. Yep,
Yeah, this
that right there.
failure swing was a big
Exactly.
draw. Yeah, because yesterday I was short with this being the draw, and that's why like
Yep,
I got. That's what I was so
exactly.
upset about yesterday. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I forgot. Yeah, but yeah, there was this draw down here, just like prior day high was the draw this morning or this afternoon, right? It just wouldn't go, right? Very interesting, right? So now it's obvious why they left that liquidity there, right? Why? Because they're coming back for it. So, but before they do it, what do they want to do? They wanted to refill the imbalance, go up, opposing liquidity run above the EO high, right? And technically, you can say that, yeah, it's real messy when you try to determine one of these as EO on the hourly. I really just like the way it played out so far. We got the rejection of the EO high. We came back down to fill, and then so that was the other thing. Once we took this EO high, what did we do? Well, guess what? Oh, hold on. Yeah, from this delivery right here, we had these, like this gap right here on the hourly chart. So you can see as soon as it tagged the high of the EO, we got a change in state of delivery, and this was a beautiful sell-off that we got right here. So as soon as we tagged the high of the EO, we came back down. We had this opposing liquidity run. I was almost expecting this to happen today on prior day high after we made that high. I was expecting a sweep, take prior day high, and then set off the sell-off to come down here. But instead, it didn't get back up here, right? Well, one target got hit there, the swing low target. So yeah, so you see as soon as it takes that high of the EO, we get a change in state of delivery, we get a wick up with the opposing liquidity run, and then head back down to and fill the imbalance within like, an hour. Come on, give it to me.
Maddie, one thing I was looking at is TCM. He talks about sometimes like when we expect a like speed through a target.
Mm.
Can do you like can you explain that at all
So I
or
so I, I don't want to misrepresent what he's trying to say, but I will
yeah,
give my interpretation just to be clear. That
yeah,
I
yeah,
haven't really studied it
sure.
extensively. Sorry, let me remove my. All right, yeah, I'm out. So what did you notice about the setups that I just showed you, like with EO? Where do you see speed?
It seems like and that EO liquidity is taken.
Yes. So when you have an EO created and a range is created and that liquidity is run, that's when we expect speed. Just like we did here on the hourly chart. As soon as we took the high of
Yeah,
EO, speed,
yeah,
speed. So this gives you even more patience, right? Because it's like if you know this is EO and this thing runs up to tag the EO high, right? Like, sure, you could have stalked along thinking that's the EO high, it's going to run it, right? But, that's a lot of junk you don't want to deal with, right? But what happens is you wait for the high to get run. You don't have to be in front of the computer. You see the EO, it starts to consolidate. I'm going to go work out and put a limit order right there. You see what I'm saying? Like, because I know it's an EO and I know I'm expecting a high probability reaction there, right? And I know like my target before the day's over is that they're gonna put a red candle down here. Like it's that simple.
mm, yeah, this is so cool.
Isn't it, dude? It's freaking blowing my mind, dude. Like I couldn't sleep last night. Like I traded this and then it was like 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, fuck it, I should just like play the ONS session. Right? Like because ONS is also an EO, right? So one-sided delivery. Could have bought longs down here with the CSD, um, assuming it's going to come back up here. The ONS high gets run out. What do you get? You get another reaction, right? So that's almost like a little mini EO getting filled right here with the quick sell-off, right? Takes sell side, runs back up, creates the imbalance. So you can even, if you're sitting on the charts here at 4 o'clock in the morning, right, or you're early bird, you know, this is gonna be, they want to balance this range. And if 8:15 hits and they leave this range and it's not balanced, highly likely that whenever they hit an objective or a delivery objective above or below, they're gonna come back to it. Nice, Joe. Joe got some options. He's gonna be retiring soon.
Now,
Beautiful trade.
go ahead.
Beautiful trade, Maddie, and great explanations as well.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. It's like,
Working hard.
yeah, this is like, this is the jam.
I'm just thrilled to be able to share it with you guys. Like DJ, I mean, like you're the prodigal son. You've brought us all to the way, to the light. You've shown us the way.
I
Bro,
feel like Dom was sitting on that info for like months, though.
Dude,
All of
like what took you so
nowhere.
long, man? Like shit.
I was
well,
like,
it was like a slow progression because I was like, I started looking into it, and then then I said, you know what, I know that there's something more than in the public YouTube, so let me take another look. And so it's only been like about a month and a half that I've been in his private group, but yeah, man, it's like next level.
it's really cool seeing like former charter students go through iterative processes with some of the initial ICT concepts to the point that you could see that it does work and they've thoroughly done some work on back testing their models, like they said, it's really, I mean, it's tremendous.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's definitely a game changer, and I feel like Maddie and I have talked about this a whole bunch, but I feel like this whole 10 months or whatever that we've been in here, well, I guess we've been in here 9 months now, but um,
We've made
it's
a baby.
right. Um, I
We've
just was like, I felt like I was. Let's put it this way: when we started the year and ICT was talking about, what 2023 was going to bring, I was so excited to have like this in-depth understanding of being able to read price and really take my trading to the next level. And unfortunately and maybe I'm just talking for myself, you guys may have had a completely different experience, but for me, I felt like I just was I didn't have that. And I was like trying to apply one concept or this concept, or I wasn't really sure what I was missing, but I knew I wasn't like actively being able to predict specifically where price was going to go on a consistent and uh, repeatable basis. And so that led to like me trying to resolve that problem by changing approaches or focusing on one thing or another thing, and not I just felt uncertain, and it feels so good to have that completely gone now. Over the past, I guess, 5 weeks that I've been studying CMT on this different level, and to have that replaced with the things that I've been searching for as a trader the whole time. And so now it's just kind of like about refining mindset. But what's really amazing is that like as I've continued to study this and like I for sure can read price and I can for sure consistently, precisely predict where price is going to go on a much higher percentage than I'm confused or off or anything like that. I mean, because it's obviously I'm not perfect. There's a long way to go, but um, the statistics just show like okay, like 90% of the time I have a very clear understanding of what price is going to do, where it's going to go, and it goes precisely to those levels. And so now for me, it's just kind of like refining my mindset as a trader. And it's amazing how just having that certainty has really kind of removed the fear I would have when I would have a bad day or a couple bad trades in a row. And I just, it's interesting how that's really helped. Like I can just be like, okay, I didn't get it this session. No problem. I'm not worried about this drawdown. And it's just like made the whole process what I had hoped it was going to be uh, in my head when I started. So it's really cool. And I hope that you all, maybe you guys are there, but if you're not, I hope that you guys all find that too.
I'm happy for you, man. I know what you mean. I think I remember feeling with the 2022 model. It was like,
I,
oh,
I I I can't hear you very well. Sorry.
I remember feeling with like the 2022 model. Oh, a fair value gap, like that should be sufficient for setups. And I know that the precision came along much later, going back into the 2016, 2017, and then this recent uh, engineering origin. And framing things, another thing that's helped is just looking at. I know Uki used to have the framing of the agent session all the time, but it really wasn't until I saw the TCM again that it clicked why his and the overnight session worked so well. It's just that framing of the narrative. And one of the things with the engineer origin, it just feels like you could come in at any time and find the right time to look for rebalancing price or looking for the right liquidity pool, which is really cool. And yeah, it just helps to go slower. At least for myself, that worry is removed in terms of like not knowing whether or not in the next session I'm going to be profitable. It's just like just wait for the next session to show up. You know.
Totally.
100%. And that's so important, right? Like because as traders, we're trying to build consistency, right? And like I didn't realize how many little things that I was doing that was taking away from my consistency because I thought I was just being thorough, right? Well, I mean, when you're looking at too many things, too many time frames, it just gets really easy to see something that may not actually be there, right? So like my goal is like I want to come up with like some clear time frames and rules and times of day and setups that I want to see at those times of day. And like if those and if they don't show up that day, it's not a problem, right? Because tomorrow it'll probably be there, right? And really honestly, like the more I dig into this stuff, the more I realize like there's like multiple times a day where I can count on something happening. It's just making sure I'm patient, and that and then when the time comes, if the setup's not clear, you know, manage risk appropriately, right? Like don't just because it's a certain time and you see a certain liquidity pool and oh my time demo just started, so I'm gonna leverage up, like keeping it cool, right? Like don't do that to yourself, right? Like play the consistency game. If you get really good at this stuff, then you got the rest of your life to milk it, you know.
Agreed.
I'm with you, man. That's like, and to DJ's point earlier of like, I really felt like my study with ICT had come to an end to the extent where, like, I understood all the PD arrays he's teaching. I understood the concepts, but I still didn't understand why they worked, right? And then like the timing and the sessions, like they're helpful, but they weren't like yeah, we're better than the average trader, but I still felt like I was a retail trader, right? So this type of stuff is helping me create like a rule set of rules, right? That allows me to actually measure if I'm being consistent. And that was the other problem is like if you're as a good trader, you need to constantly be journaling, identify your weaknesses and things like that. And so throughout that process, if a lot of the times you can't identify your weakness is that, well, I didn't have patience or I didn't do this or do that. Like that's a rule based problem, So like if you don't have rules, then you're trading based on you're reacting to price and you're using your emotions to determine, a lot of things that are happening in your trading plan, right? Like when you engage, what happens when you see a big move? Like how do you feel about it if you're not in it? What do you do when you see a big move? Are you looking for the opportunity that it created, or are you kind of frustrated that the market moved without you, right? Like it's those little things that keep you focused on the right um, stuff, I guess. That's my experience, at least.
Well said, Maddie.
Who's going along with me?
I'm done for the day.
I'm sorry, I can't help it, bro. I cannot stop.
It's so
Maddie, I was
funny
looking at
because
this. Would you tar like would
you feel like fuck. Is it really this easy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you need to know now. You need to really know when to stop, because like, not that
dude,
you'll lose money. I'm not worried about the overtraders. Like, damn, like you're doing this.
fire. Like, so what I'm thinking is that we've come down, we've accomplished the delivery, right?
yeah.
The delivery to accomplish the delivery was imbalanced. So I'm expecting some sort of reaction. Um, do I expect it to come back up into this void? No, not necessarily. I was just gonna kind of watch it to see how it reacted with these failure swings. But I'm assuming that we had a CSD here. It's kind of holding price at 2 o'clock. So the other thing is I'm looking at 2 o'clock as a time of interest for an entry. So we just had a big liquidity sweep, right? And in the sense that we swept the imbalance, right? So I started looking for a CSD, and 2 o'clock gave me a CSD, and that's a time that I look for an entry. So that's what got me interested in going long in this fair value gap. I didn't, I missed it, right? So that's why I entered in this red candle here. I guess I got one entry down here, and then it averaged me down.
Are you targeting that imbalance at 15,28550?
So let's look at it this way. This is a balanced price range. Pretty much. DJ, do you use candle bodies here or wicks?
And let me stick to body. It just kind of gives me a clearer perspective on stuff.
The wicks are about the same size.
Yeah.
So this would be a point of interest for me here, being a balanced range. If it's going to retrade, I don't know. This is more of a scout, three minis, so it's not a big deal. But if it did decide to rip and finally go back and tag prior day high like everybody was expecting, I thought it would be fun to have a contract if it did it.
And silver, like on that long too, like Maddie, if you can just highlight the third green candle that creates the CSD, the one just to the left of
Oh,
it.
sorry, yeah, this one I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So once that candle closes above the high of the red candle, that red candle, yeah, you know that the delivery that brought price down to fill that area with red candles, the delivery is complete, and so a new set of objectives have been activated within the algorithm. That's not to say that within that it can't come back down and retest the original order block and then it's just going to rip, but
Right.
it's done what it needed to do to deliver price
Mhm.
to that level.
Yeah.
And so when you know that that there's a new delivery that's going to begun that has begun, you can confidently say, okay, well, since we've come down here, what's price likely to do? And it gives you a, a clear set of choices that you can make that are in line with your risk or how you want to trade. And also what you can do the same thing by then blending the time frames that we're focusing on, which are the 5 minute, the 1 hour, and the daily. And when you look at the 1 hour, we've just taken the low from the Friday 8 a.m. candle. And so that was a sweep of 1 hour liquidity. And we tapped into an order block uh, from 6 a.m. And
Mm-hmm.
so those also add confluence that, like, hey, most likely we're done with this delivery for the moment. Going back to Maddie's original point, which is like we've created all this inefficiency coming down for that delivery. So there's a high likelihood that we could retrace a bit before and capture some buy side liquidity and balance that range in a bit before uh, we would continue lower, which would most likely be next week. And I think we just created a 1 hour EO as well. Oh no, we didn't. Yeah, I guess we did. We closed below that other candle.
Yeah, up here. Yeah. See, this is where EO can get hairy is when you got several swing failures, right?
Yeah.
And so like which swing failures, but we know that this is untapped liquidity. We know that this is untapped liquidity, so you could theoretically use either, right?
Yeah.
And or this one, right? Because I like your idea of using this one. So that theoretically means that we're going to expect now that this high is going to get run out. Maybe
Which
not
goes in line with like what your like
in
if
the
you
next
drop to
candle.
5,
In
I
the
wonder
next,
what that level is at on your 5.
yeah, that's like this little thing. But it won't do it till the next hourly candle, right?
I mean,
I mean,
we've got 30
theoretically,
minutes left in the day. I think we probably just kind of stay in this range. It could run up there.
we still have 40 minutes left in this candle, right? So it's like, so the question is are they going to close this candle down here to fill this hourly imbalance, right?
I would
Or are they
reckon
gonna,
the Judas on this candle currently.
yeah, so you think this candle closes and then they Judas the candle, but it's also closing time, so
Yeah, no. I think that this is the Judas portion, the manipulation portion of the candle, and it's gonna close higher.
Yeah, oh yeah, perfect sense. Yeah, that makes sense. There we go. Got their red fill. If I get stopped out, it's cool. No big deal. Good risk reward if it does want to go. Get that 1 minute back.
I think that this is also one of those ones where the order block is before the market structure shifts, so we expect it to get taken.
Yeah, there could be like the opposing liquidity run here first.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
the CSD, then it moves up.
So, and then we also have some failure swing here action. Yeah. So, the BPR here. We did get the wicks out of the BPR if you look at it that way.
Yeah,
Like if you look at this in a range here. Yeah, I could definitely run these lows. I'm gonna give myself a little more room. Yeah, I mean the only that's the problem here is that once you start, this is a very low probability setup. End of the day, Friday, like we're just trying to mess around here, but it's totally possible. So here's EQ of the ONS session, which is another algorithmic target, right? Because now that they've balanced this range, the 50% should be a place of interest. But also, like they could run the lows here. Like they could just decide to end the week down here. There's nothing stopping them. Yeah, because once you get to this point in the week where your objectives have been hit and all that, you're really just kind of trading the algorithm, literally, like settlement algo.
see if we reclaim this now. Yeah, I think that that's all that was.
Y'all like that? Y'all like that? Of course, it leaves a green imbalance behind. Damn you!
Quite a reaction there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the double BPR. So this is a rejection block entry.
So I was gonna say that's like perfect
Now this
rejection
red
block.
candle here, that we just took the high of,
Yeah,
the
it's gonna go.
yeah, this should support price now. And I would look for it to go uh to the first big red den candle after the dealing range rebalances itself. Candle just to
Okay.
the right of that. After that goes down and then back up, that next right
Yeah,
candle. So
right.
the one just below that, yeah, that liquidity there on on that candle.
This right here. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
which
I'll
will be
put
back
this
to
here so people
premium.
can right there. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yep. I mean, I like it. Um, they did, yeah, like you saying, like it looks like they ran this high out here by a tick, but you know that's also a relatively equal high, so there could they could target this.
And
My
that
only
candle
thing
that
is
you
that
just
this,
placed
my
the
only
limit at, that was like the, that was for sure the displacement candle that, has the liquidity for this move down on the one. So
yeah, to me this
35
is
minutes, I think that's a pretty safe target.
yeah the biggest thing here for me is that this is a breakaway gap in my understanding of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you know candles should continue to reject here. So this is ambitious for sure. We got 50% of the price. I'll take the partial there and then I'll take the full pull there. Everybody okay with that? Yeah, so here's it. So the same reason I didn't expect us to expand higher today after we rejected the prior day high from yesterday. Same reason I don't expect it to trade up here right now. And that's the concept of the breakaway gap right here on the hourly. So same thing, breakaway gap, wicks into it, almost wicked up into it. Again, kind of sloppy, but it's Friday. But you know, kind of, you're seeing how that same fractal is playing out. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. And actually, the overnight session fractal is what made me think that we were going to get that prior day high sweep today. But thankfully, I didn't formulate a trade on that. That was just something like I'd like to see it happen so that I can get short, right? So sometimes you just need to focus on like, what do I want to see in price before I even identify my setup? If you can get into that perspective, that mindset, it really does help you out. What was I going to show? Oh yeah, see, so this is the extended trading hours fractal last night, right?
Yeah, I
Ran
saw
up.
that today.
Yeah, and then we got that, oh well, the opposing liquidity run here, which stopped me out because I got short here, but then I got stopped out, but then I immediately re-entered whenever it wicked back down. I was like, no, this thing's going.